Kicking off a new series today on CNN 10, taking you to a place you've probably never been and that I'm not going to even try to pronounce. I'm Carl Azuz. That's coming up in just a few minutes. First, though, North Korea is accusing the United States of declaring war. There have been a lot of threatening statements between the two countries in recent months, what some observers have been calling a war of words. At the United Nations General Assembly last week, both U.S. President Donald Trump and North Korean Foreign Minister Ri Yong-ho spoke out against each other's country. Then, over the weekend, President Trump tweeted that if Foreign Minister Ri echoes the thoughts of Little Rocket Man, that's a controversial name that President Trump used for North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un, the two North Korean leaders, quote, won't be around much longer. Foreign Minister Ri called that an American declaration of war on his country and said North Korea would have the right to make, quote, countermeasures, including the right to shoot down U.S. bombers at any time, even when they're not in North Korean airspace. He was referring to flyovers that U.S. planes recently conducted over international waters east of North Korea. The U.S. State Department says America has not declared war on North Korea and that it continues to push for a peaceful stop to North Korea's nuclear weapons programs. The U.S. also says it has a right to fly in international airspace and that no country has the right to fire on other nations' planes or ships in international areas.
This is a very tense situation, and we always hope that cooler heads would prevail. If we fly more strategic aircraft near the North Koreans and they choose to try and shoot one of those aircraft down, this could be a flashpoint. If the North Koreans feel that they're being overly threatened and choose to fire some sort of rockets, missiles, artillery into South Korea and strike American forces. We have just under 30,000, approximately 30,000 U.S. forces stationed in Korea. This could become a flashpoint, which will lead to greater trouble. This is a powder keg right now, and this is something that we need cooler heads on both sides to be really beginning to prevail here.
Every missile launch by North Korea is considered by most to be a provocation, but it's more worrying than that. Every launch takes North Korea one step closer to its stated goal of being able to hit mainland United States with a nuclear-tipped missile. Now, the regime has tested intercontinental ballistic missiles this year. The leader Kim Jong-un claims he already has major US cities in his sights. But how close is he exactly? There are a number of questions that remain to be answered. Does Pyongyang have a warhead that can re-enter the Earth's atmosphere without burning up? Experts simply don't know. Does Pyongyang have a nuclear weapon that's small enough to fit on the tip of a missile, i.e., has it miniaturized a nuclear warhead? Now, Kim Jong-un claims he already has done that, although some experts refute that claim. But US officials say that they have to take Kim at his word. They have to work under the assumption that he has that capability. Kim hopes that every ICBM test will improve on the last, and the closer he gets to achieving an effective nuclear arsenal, the harder it will be to convince him to give it up.
North Korea is one of the countries listed in the Trump administration's new travel restrictions that were announced this week. The rules keep certain people from entering the U.S. People from the nations of Chad, Iran, Libya, North Korea, Somalia, Syria, Venezuela, and Yemen. After announcing the travel ban on Sunday night, President Trump said, quote, making America safe is my #1 priority. We will not admit those into our country we cannot safely vet, meaning investigate beforehand. And an official from the Homeland Security Department said the new rules will help keep terrorists and criminals from entering the U.S. The previous travel ban was established by an executive order 3 months ago, and it was challenged in court. It applied to people in 6 countries and was temporary. It expired Sunday night. One difference between the two, besides some of the countries named, is that the new restrictions are indefinite. A government official said they're based on conditions, not time. Critics said the previous version discriminated against Muslims, since the countries that were part of it had Muslim-majority populations. The Trump administration denied this, saying the vast majority of the world's Muslims were not affected. But immigration rights groups say the government only added countries like North Korea and Venezuela to the new ban to support its legal argument that it's necessary for national security. They say the new ban still unfairly targets Muslims. The U.S. Supreme Court was scheduled to hear arguments next month on the legality of the travel ban, but because it's been replaced by the new version, the court has removed that hearing from its schedule and will now consider whether the issue is moot. This may mean that the legal process concerning the ban would start over. 10-second trivia. Welsh is a Celtic language that's still spoken in what country? Finland, United Kingdom, Iceland, or Italy? Welsh is still spoken in Wales, a part of the United Kingdom. Around 20% of the people in Wales still speak Welsh, a language whose roots date back to the 8th century, according to Encyclopedia Britannica. And while you don't need to be fluent to pronounce the superlative name of a Welsh town, it wouldn't hurt. We're going there right now, one of many unique and fascinating places we'll take you to as we kick off a new series in partnership with our friends at Great Big Story. For 10 out of 10 today, who wants some pancakes? These are professional chefs, and they're cooking up a record. After a whole mess hall of them fried flapjacks for almost 8 hours, they served up 12,716 griddle cakes, setting a Guinness World Record, a new one, in Moscow, Russia, a nation that doesn't just have a pancake day, it has a whole pancake week. We're not sure how many members of the public ate at the event or how long it took them, but when the batter was up, they took the pancakes down, showing they were willing and maple in a matter of flowers to buttermilk this opportunity and make Bisquick work out of them without making a flapjack. We're glad that effort didn't fall flat. I'm Carl Azuz, and we're serving up pancakes for CNN 10.